Anytime that I'm asked to present myself, I always identify myself as a Black Muslim because I'm not ashamed to say so.
Being a Black woman at Tufts, it has been hard.
When I started finding myself in college, it got to a point where I was like, I had to cut people off because
my parents actually are not Muslim, so I actually converted and all that. So
I lived on a mostly white floor my freshman year.
Everyone's at a different place of their religion, and certain people are trying to get back to where they used to be.
It's a business in the end, and they treat it very much like that. And that's one thing that a lot of us students have to wake up to.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hi, my name is Fatu.
My name is Atiya Mailiki.
My name is Mohamedou, last name Kamara.
And following that, my name is Chana.
Hey, my name is Iva.
Hello everybody, I'm Ringo Kone.
My name is Iman. I go to Tufts.
Hi, I'm Taliola, and I'm currently a junior at Tufts University as well.
I'm Reed. I go to URI.
My name is Worth Balawu.
Hey y'all, so my name is Latifa.
Hi guys, it's Miriam.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohamedou.
My name is Alarin.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Anas Bashir. I'm an alumni of Boston College.
I would say being a Black Muslim in college is definitely a unique experience.
Not everyone can say that they're Black, Muslim, and whatever identity that they have.
Thanks.
I'd say coming in, it was a little difficult trying to find my place and my identity as a Muslim Black individual.
Something that over time I've come accustomed to loving and embracing in different ways.
And I didn't have to take anything away from myself. I was just like, I came as I was and I was welcomed and I was able to find a community there.
Just being able to find that Black Muslim community here on campus has been exciting because I was just not aware that this community just existed on campus in the first place.
It's not that there are a lot of Black Muslims at Tufts. I'm coming from a school where there were no Black Muslims at all. So it's nice to be able to live with other Black Muslims your age or underage that are studying similar things and going through the same thing you're going through, just the whole college routine.
So when applying to colleges back in high school, as an African man, you know what I'm saying, a Black man and a Muslim man, first gen, so the parents was brought down my neck about where I gotta go. Naturally, I had to apply to all the Ivies.
When I was applying to colleges, it was really interesting as a Black Muslim woman because a lot of the girls that I knew went to college in their own state and they didn't venture out to different cities, and I happened to be 5 hours away from home. So I was very nervous because I'm the oldest, and as a Muslim woman, our job is to help our families and be there for our families. So I had a huge crisis when I was looking for universities, especially outside of the state.
I'm also the first daughter in my family, and my parents did not want me to go anywhere. My limit was Massachusetts, that's about it. They have valid reasons for being concerned, whether it's just being just their child, whether it's being a Muslim woman who's going to maybe not so religious location, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think for me, I was thinking a lot about resources, what resources would I have accessible to me, because I knew in high school that was something I didn't have at all. As I was applying to college, that was all in the back of my mind, does this school have some sort of Africana Center, which we do at Tufts? Does the school have a strong MSA? Who is in that MSA? Do they, are there Black people? Because I've been to events as a high schooler at different colleges and felt so uncomfortable because everyone was either Arab or South Asian, and they looked at you like you were, either they would ask oh, did you revert? Or things like that are very much microaggressions.
It just so kind of happened that coming to Tufts, it was there's a good amount of Black Muslims there, which is great. But I didn't really think about that very much when I was applying.
Coming from the household I was in, going to or applying to an HBCU wasn't the norm. It was the norm to attend a PWI that people knew about.
I really wanted to go to an HBCU. I wanted to go to Howard. I got accepted, but because of the financial circumstances, I couldn't go.
I initially wanted to go to an HBCU. Like, I just wanted to be where my people was at. So I would say, like, race definitely mattered to me in terms of the school that I went to. Like, the Black community just had to be tight-knit. So I wouldn't say I was thinking too much of, like, my religious identity when applying to school.
On top of with the parents breathing down my neck, like, it was like get into a good school. So it was more so just about like accomplishing that goal than thinking about, you know, how it's gonna be when I got there. And then upon getting accepted, that's when conversations started coming up about, yo, you're gonna be at a PWI, this, that, and the third. And even at that point, I didn't think about being Muslim at a PWI, Jesuit Catholic institution. You know, like that, like with that, like I was like, yo, I've already been Muslim in like a world that's, you know, really Christian oriented. It was really the transition from being a Black first generation from Harlem, New York, and then going to a PWI. That's what really hit hard.
You know, overall, I've had both good and bad experiences. Well, I wouldn't say bad, but I've had positive and negative experiences being a Black Muslim at Boston College. I would say positively, like, I guess there's just communities on campus that I could feel safe in with both of my identities.
I think you'll just find that minorities just band together.
If it wasn't for Nigerians around me, I don't think I'd be doing good in school at all.
No, that's a
like,
fact.
No matter
That's a
what
fact.
it
That's
is,
a fact.
it's always better with them. So like, I pass an exam, like we celebrate, it's lit, you know what I'm saying? Like, we fail, it's like, all right, I mean, it's in God's hands, we move, you know what I'm saying? It's always, I feel like it's always better with more people who can relate.
So I'm of like a lot of mixed heritages. I'm Black, I'm Arab. So those are my two biggest ethnicities that are in place, and like, you know, and that is Sudanese and American. I went to the ASA, and I felt like, you know, because of my skin color a little bit, I had to maybe prove my Arabness more so than other people. And this isn't a judgment necessarily in the Arab Student Association. This is generally an Arab phenomenon or a pan-Arabist thing.
In the beginning, from like freshman year, I was very much looking to fit into the different identities that other people have. And while my faith was still a big part of my life, I kind of lost sense of like what it truly means to be Muslim.
Yeah, to add on to the whole conversation in terms of like beauty standards and like feeling like you have to conform to those standards, like I feel like a lot of hijabis also think about that too. When I came to Boston College, like I wore my scarf in a bun, but I feel like part of the reason why I would do that freshman year, I feel like it was to be seen as more beautiful and more, I guess, attractive. I already was coming in as a dark-skinned woman, so I'm like, all right, like strike one. I'm like, oh, like I'm Muslim, I strike two. But I could wear this bun in the back of my head, and I could kind of,
myself a little bit,
you know, camouflage. Like I could kind of mix in, because there were other Black women who, you know, wrap their hair, and it's not like people don't automatically think like a Black woman who wears her scarf is Muslim, which is problematic, absolutely.
But like I was thinking about freshman year, how like, you know, the basketball players would come in, and it's like I'm trying to be the pretty girl, but like the guys already have, you know, a certain like
look that they're going for.
So it was just like having to alter ourselves. Most athletes on my campus, like they go for the cheerleaders. Most of our cheerleaders are light skinned. Can't lie. But being a woman in college is hard. I can't even lie.
Like in classrooms, I would say that not everyone is as accommodating towards Black women. It's either like the attitude is like, oh yeah, like we're for Black women, da 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 da, and that's so forced. And it's just like, specifically for like STEM, like for my labs, oh my God, nobody will sit next to you when it's time to pair up, right? Someone will be sitting right here. They'll just they'll grab onto the next person. So and the person I'll just be sitting there like this, and it's just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then the teacher will have to come over and be like, oh, I think we could do like a 3-person group. Let's look for someone who'll accept you.
It's like, oh, work with the person to your left, right? And the person to your right. You're the only person to their left, obviously, right? And they won't even, they'll just look around. They'll just like turn around, automatically just like turn their back on you. And it's like, whoa, okay, I guess this is how it is. Like, you didn't even try to even say anything to me. So I'm like, I'm not gonna even try to do anything. I'm not gonna force something that you clearly have shown me you don't wanna work with me. And I don't even know these people, right?
But you also have to like maintain your composure. You can't just call someone out of their name. Like, it's just like.
Which is the worst part.
And you could just tell like people just did not know what to do with you, you know, like coming from the Bronx, like, you know, coming here, I could just tell like they just didn't know what to do with me. Like most of these people grew up in like you know, rich white suburbs in the Northeast. They don't know they've never had to deal with someone like me or had to be in a class with someone like me, have to work with someone like me.
And then also like whenever we had like group projects, I hate because people literally like, they've talked over me multiple times. They've done work on the project and not looped me in. Like oftentimes it's had to be me to initiate that conversation.
When you go to a PWI that has high expectations like BC, sometimes it's really intimidating and nerve-wracking to be in specific classes. So I'm a poli-sci and applied psychology double major. And so when I'm not in my core classes and I'm in like my major classes like poli-sci, I can be a little intimidated sometimes by the vast amount of white male students who are well-versed in politics, who probably have different ideologies from me, maybe not. It can be a little scary, like to just put up your hand and say what you feel.
And then even like in classes where I'm sharing, you know, like my perspective and relating them to my personal experiences, students would literally be like, well, let's not think like let's not get too emotional about this. Like, let's think about like the literature and the theory. And it's like, you are a white woman. Like, how are you gonna tell me
be quiet.
that I can't bring in my experience when we're talking about things like Black maternal mortality?
Yes.
Right? It's something that hits really close to home for me. And it's a lot, and like Telly said, like it's a predominantly white institution. These are the majority of the people taking these classes are white. And they're gonna be going into the workforce, into academia, thinking that they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
I remember my freshman year, I'll be very hesitant like to speak in class because like I just didn't know how they would view me, and like I just thought that like my words that like I would say in class, like they would just try to double down on it and like just try to criticize even more.
Generally in classes, people tend to be to show a different face, I found out, than they do in private. So there was this person that I had very high regard for when seeing in classes, and how outspoken and how thoughtful and meticulous they were when it came to people's rights. And I remember walking out of Vandy, and I saw this person walking with another person a few paces in front of me. And then I suddenly heard them say something jokingly, and then the N-word. And I just kind of choked up. I didn't even keep walking. I just literally froze up and it was a feeling of disgust, and I was just like, is this really what it's like?
How can I call that out in a way that I'm comfortable doing? Because I'm also a student, and that's my priority. It's not to educate my peers.
Exactly. It's not my job to educate my peers. It's also not my job to teach you about respect. That has nothing to do with me. You get what I'm saying? So
as I said before, I'm from New York City, so it's considered a melting pot. And I went to school in Harlem, New York. So I went to school with a lot of Black and Hispanic students. So we never had any white students in my classes. So I never went to school with a white person ever, before I came to college.
Coming to BC, it's a lot of white people that haven't talked to Black people, And me as a Black person that didn't really talk to white people, it was a big gap. You know what I'm saying? It was before coming to BC, I consider myself I could sit down and talk to anybody, keep a conversation going. But there's really some people in this world you can't talk to.
Yeah. Personally, I don't really have that many white friends on campus. I probably have 3 like friends. And like a lot of the white people I interact with are just kind of acquaintances. And it's not even a matter of like I'm too scared to approach them or anything like that, but it's like I genuinely just don't really have much to talk to them about. And it's like obviously the different backgrounds play into that, but it's very hard to get past the surface level conversations. Like, you know, we'll talk about our hometown or the sports we like, but then like it doesn't really get too much deeper than that. So that's like something I've been, you know, I'm not like actively like, hey, I need to go make white friends, but you know, I'm trying to like see how like I can implement that into my life, like just learning to adapt to new people, like Alarin was saying, because I'm gonna need that in the future anyway.
I would say the most transformative parts of my experience as a black person, specifically as a black Muslim person, is dealing with a lot of the racism that goes on campus.
Like, if I had to be completely 100%, you feel me? It's like you're going to a different school. Like it's a completely different experience, because like it's almost like literally nothing on campus is like has you in mind at all in any way.
Coming into BC, I was sort of in a way not anticipating, but like embracing myself for something that could happen just because of the climate that we live in. Like we had Trump as president, there's a lot going on. And obviously like within that first semester, something did happen where a student from a building not too far from me, literally down the block, came into bathrooms, classrooms, like hallways, and wrote like niggers, this and that, like niggas of the plague. And I mean, he was arrested and they caught him, but like that was like shocking for me, because it's different when it's implicit bias and implicit racism, but when someone actually goes on a mirror and writes niggers, it's like kind of like a slap in the face. Like I'm paying tuition to come to a school where people like you exist among me.
Being a Muslim in college is hard, period.
OD.
Period.
It's not really a big Muslim crowd, you know. I wouldn't say there's an area for us to gather that's like welcoming for black Muslims, you know what I'm saying?
You know, me and my fellow MSA members have been fighting to get consistent halal food in the dining halls. And like, sometimes it's like something as little as like the labeling. Like sometimes they might have halal food, but we don't know because they don't always put the halal on the board. So now we have to guess, and yeah.
Sometimes they have pork in some things and we don't know it's pork either.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I had like an egg McMuffin the other day, and like, bro, I don't know if it was turkey or bacon. Either way, it was nasty. It was nasty. Either way, that was nasty.
Our campus does have a masjid. So in the bathrooms on the second floor where the masjid is, they actually have a foot wash for wudu specifically. And when I found that out, my parents found out, they were like, wow, like it's like they actually made sure that there's something, you don't have to be awkwardly like trying to wash your foot in the sink if you're trying to make wudu.
As a Muslim, coming into college, there's a lot of things that we've learned growing up in our families, in our households, in the mosque, like don't eat pork, don't drink, don't smoke, don't party because partying's haram. Like, be conscious of who you spend your time with, because bad people can influence you to do bad things.
So like I said, coming into college, I wasn't focused on, you know, let me pray every day, you know, let me try to, you know, even my self-care, I was not focused on that at all. And that was a problem. I was more focused on, you know, let me go to classes, get my A's, all this stuff, party and all that. So like when it came to like praying, I'm not gonna lie, I was not doing it freshman year. I really wasn't. And I was going through a lot freshman year. So when it came to like, you know, expressing myself, instead of me trying to like pray my pain away, I was not doing that. I would just lock myself up in a room. I wouldn't talk to nobody for weeks. But during my sophomore year, like my first semester of sophomore year, I started praying again. And when I tell you, it was the best feeling ever.
I wish, like, you know what I'm saying, that like I'm with black people, I'm with black Muslims, and like, you know, we're all together, we're chilling, and then they were like, all right, yo, we about to go pray. And it's like 7 of us deep, like about to go do our ablution and go to the masjid, but like, you only see one person, you know what I'm saying?
In terms of scheduling, I think it's just a matter of being mindful, and I have to make sure to be mindful because, like, you know, you can get carried away when you're doing other things. It's like, oh, it's time to pray, I'll pray later. But you gotta pray now. I feel like when I've told people I need to pray or like I just need to go or anything like that, like I haven't had many problems. And thankfully, like I said, I have a Muslim roommate as well, so we'll wake up each other for Fajr. I'm a morning person, so I'll be like, oh, it's time for Fajr.
in my freshman year, even my sophomore year too, like my schedule would like almost, my first semester freshman year was fine, but my schedule would sometimes be a certain way where like I would just always have a class on Fridays during Jummah, so I'd just like not be able to go at all. And like I remember like, what's it called, the chaplain when we first came in, Celine Ibrahim, who you mentioned earlier, wanted to make a thing where like she would like try to like ask the school to like make like some kind of accommodation
Special
where
block
like,
for
yeah,
Fridays,
special
yeah,
block.
yeah.
So there would be no classes during that time. But I don't think that, no, it didn't go through because they obviously didn't change it.
So I think being a Muslim college means having to battle out what you want to do and what you don't want to do.
As men, we are definitely luckier in a sense because our Islam is not necessarily like worn as a cloth. You know, for women, like, yo, yeah, she's a Muslim. Like, for me, I don't hide my religion at all, but I don't just, hey, yo, what's up, I'm Muslim type of situation. You know what I'm trying to say? But like, I know the things that I want to, the things like that my religion and my faith says, and I try to follow it as much as possible. I would say on a college campus, things can sometimes get a little difficult.
So, you know, there's like a lot of, you know, partying culture and drinking culture and things of that nature. And like, you know, some things like I just personally don't indulge with. So it's kind of hard to, you know, it's kind of hard to like have that connection all the time.
First of all, I want to say I got mad respect for Mo, like just in that regard, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man.
I've had my own journey with religion while being at BC. I remember the first thing my mom told me when she dropped me off was like, find the Muslim Student Association and join it. You know, like every campus should have one, you know what I'm saying?
And so what I ended up sticking around was I stuck around mostly around the Muslim Student Association, and there's also kind of I'd say a little bit of a racial bias around that because of like the majority of the people who are Muslim on campus do come from a certain demographic. So there is kind of I don't want to say lack of diversity, but not as much as we would like and not as much as is representative generally of the Muslim world.
I initially thought I wouldn't be able to get involved in like Islamic organizations at universities because I knew that their population might not be so inclusive in terms of African and Black Muslims. Not necessarily that they would be like a bad org.
The MSA club that we have on campus, like I actually like try to like go to the events, but the thing is that like it's just hard to like just to fit in because like most of the people that are in MSA, like they don't like identify like with my background.
And like I did join it my freshman year, but I wasn't as active. And I think this is the thing I like the most about the Muslim community. Like there's a lot of support from them, you know what I'm saying? Like they understand like it's a journey. So it's not like, you know, shoving it down your throat. It's like, yo, just come to a few meetings, you know, come do this with us, you know, come chill with us, get to know us. And some of them you're gonna see at the parties with you. Pretend like you didn't see them the next day.
No one is gonna be like, oh, you're doing that? That's haram, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they might say it in a way that's like, to educate you, like, oh, if you didn't know, by the way, but it won't be in a judgmental way. And also it's like, they also kind of indirectly push you, like they're like, oh, come to Jummah with all of us. And even like with friends, like thanks to Alarin, you know, he got me to start waking up for Fajr. And you know, because we live in the same building, so you know, we'll walk over to each other's rooms, pray Fajr in the morning together. He goes to the gym, I go back to sleep. But
I went to the gym the first week.
Like, I appreciate you for being honest, because I feel like there's this stereotype or pressure placed upon Muslims where, like coming into college, where they're expected to, you know, like there's just this stereotype that all Muslims are like serious and like they all do their 5 daily prayers, they all do this, they all do that, but it's like, no, like we're not perfect, like we're human, like God is perfect, and like he understands that as his servants, like as believers, we're going to slip up, like we're going to make mistakes, but it's just that we need to repent and ask him for his forgiveness genuinely. So oftentimes you have to pick between your religious identity and being a college student.
If you want to be Muslim, you really got to be Muslim to be Muslim in a place like this.
Yeah, I actually added on to that. I would say also like just having these Jesuit values and ideals around us, like it kind of, for me at least, like I've kind of noticed that some of the things that they believe in is like a lot of things that Muslims believe in as well. you could think of Islam as both a religion and a lifestyle. And like, if you kind of look at it from the lifestyle perspective, like it would be okay being at a Jesuit institution because the lifestyles are a bit merged in a sense, but obviously the religious beliefs differ in their own ways. So it's both a blessing and a curse, like Alarin has said.
I would say be proud of who you are, because when you are, it's very easy to find people who will support you in doing that. And I feel like a lot of times there's this kind of, especially in like my community, I guess like the Nigerian Muslim community, there's this stigma like Muslim girls who wear the hijab will go off to college and come back and they're like this entirely different person. Hijab, specifically for women, is a difficult and like challenging thing to like define for yourself and like get involved in. So I think pressure is always hard, whether it's from like, especially if it's from members of the community, members from your family, stuff like that. So find someone, for me, I guess is my roommate, stick with them, find community if you can, even if it has to be at another school.
The best thing about Islam is that it's not easy, it's challenging every day. You wake up, alhamdulillah, go to bed, bismillah, you know what I'm saying? So I thank God that I'm on college campus away from the masjid, because then it really puts the pressure, like how much does this faith mean to you?
I'm a big believer in trying to find your faith yourself, because if you do find it, inshallah, I hope everybody does, like it just comes back stronger, and it's for you and not for anybody else. Oh, it's not for my mom, or it's not for my dad says so. It's because like I want to do it.
Just follow what you know in your heart brings barakah, and if you're a little bit apprehensive about it in your heart, whether it brings barakah or not, for the sake of Allah, leave it and make dua. Make lots and lots of dua. Make dua for yourself, make dua for your brothers and sisters.